Hello, good afternoon. My name is Carlos Kaloni, and this is Election Brief. Within the next 30 minutes, we'll have the latest update from the political scene here in Ghana. We are live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV 125, all social media handles, and around the world on myjoyonline.com. Election headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel for full quantity, Chartered Institute of Management Accountant, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountant, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants and Gemma Ozone Medical Center, alternative therapy, dental wellness, and beauty. Election headquarters for an informed electorate. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the Electoral Commission has set 30th April 2024 as the day it will hold a by-election for constituents of Ejisu to elect a new member of parliament after the demise of the MP, John Kuma. This decision was arrived at Tuesday morning after an inter-party advisory committee meeting. More of that shortly, but ahead of the primaries of the NPP to elect a parliamentary candidate for the by-election, an aspirant for the primaries, Dr. Ejisu, says he holds the blueprint to the developmental project that were being rolled out by the deceased MP, John Kuma. Now, the lecturer at the Akenten Apia Menkan University, who is among 9 persons seeking to replace the deceased MP, says he was involved in the drafting and implementation of some key developmental projects. Most aspirants in the parliamentary race are campaigning on the legacy of the deceased MP, but Dr. Dia believes in his technical abilities.
I'm like a chef. If you go to maybe a hotel, a restaurant, and then you are served a very good food, you enjoy it, but sometimes you don't even get to know the chef or the cooks and the people behind it. I was one of the cooks and one of the chefs with Honorable Dr. John Pontin Kuma. What it simply means is that I was part of the brains and the hands behind the scenes doing a lot of work. So I then now step into his shoes to continue his legacy. I'm saying this, and everybody who was close to John knows it, that 2 weeks before his passing, I accepted to have become his technical advisor and spokesperson if he had been named the running mate, which we hoped for. But I can't speak for His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But for our camp, if he had been named, I would have been his technical advisor and spokesperson. What it means is that I am the one coming from his camp, and we would continue with the legacy that he did. I'm not only talking about things he did, but things we did. In other words, some of the blueprints, some of the documents, some of the strategic plans, I have them. Because I either helped to draft them or submitted it to them. He corrected them. I worked on them. We improved upon it, and it was submitted. We were working on projects like the asphalt that has been built at Dona also, which is in collaboration with some Indians and so on and so forth, which I know that will be able to continue with that. There is the Ejisu, the Buankra Technology Innovation City, which I have the blueprints, which I know that we can also continue. There is a Growth Fund Venture Capital, which was going to be a private initiative that would help the people of Ejisu and Asante at the beginning of the phase 1, which will be able to continue. There are other projects that I'll not be able to mention them now because some are in the pipeline, some are in phase 2 and phase 3. The advantage with me is that we have the blueprints, we have the documents, we were part of it, and for that reason, it will be very easy to continue with it.
Now, the former banker has described himself as a strategist who is working quietly for victory on Saturday.
So the good thing is, for me, the beauty of democracy is to have 9 people step up to compete. It is actually encouraging, and it tells you that the new patriotic party is still as attractive as it should be. All the 8 other candidates are formidable. They are people that equally would be able to do works in their own way. However, this is one thing that gives me a serious urge over all of them. You see, what we have now in Ejisu is that John took Ejisu to a certain standard. That standard and that pedigree, we need people who can match up to it. I don't speak against any other candidates, but one thing that is certain is that I have been well groomed over the years, through the thick and thin. And I personally think that anybody who would read about me, my credentials, the things I've done, would know that this is a shoe I can fit in and be able to do what my own brother was doing. For the other candidates, I'll be very straightforward with you. There's a difference between a grassroots politician and a strategist. Mourinho came and he surprised everybody with the Premier League. I'm a strategist. Submarine, quiet, slow, but steady, and penetrate wide and deep. And you see the results on Saturday.
All right.
So how is the campaign for the primary shaping up? My colleague Nana Yaojima joins me from the Ashanti region with more. Nana, how are the candidates running their campaigns ahead of the primaries?
So all 9 candidates are now actively on the ground trying to meet delegates in various areas within the constituency. And from the little that I have been doing with regards to the campaigning of the various aspirants, it seems all of them are.
Hello, Nanayo, if you could speak up a bit for us so we can hear you clearly. We seem to be having some challenges with Nanayo. Okay, Nanayo, please continue.
So what I'm saying is that from the little I've been gathering from the campaign of these aspirants, all of them, the 9 aspirants are doing well to meet the delegate at least twice before Saturday. So from the investigation I've been doing, for instance, the camp of Helena Mensah, it's almost wrapping up with the first stage of the campaigning. Almost all of the delegates, she has met almost all of them. Also, the aspirants we just listened to is also on the grounds this afternoon. From the information that I have been getting, he is presently within the constituency, moving from area to area, trying to get the delegates who will be voting in the election on Saturday to speak to. Also, Kwabena Boateng is also presently in a Esienimpong, and he is meeting the delegates at a Esienimpong within the constituency. And from the information that I have been gathering, all 9 are active on the ground trying to wrap up their campaigns. From the information that I've been getting from the various camps, it looks like they are not resting until Saturday, even after completing the first stage or going into all the areas within the constituency. They also put the delegates, some of them are planning to put the delegates together and meet these delegates. They converge at one specific spot. They go and meet them and try to convince them further to ensure that on Saturday they are able to win a massive vote from the delegates to become the parliamentary candidate of their constituency. So far, so good. All of them are actively on the ground trying to convince the delegates.
So tell us from the perspective of the delegate, how have they been receiving the messages from this aspirant and what are their chances actually?
Interestingly, all delegates, whenever they are called upon to meet these aspirants, they all make their ways to the designated areas to meet the aspirants. With delegates, no matter where and when you call them to meet you, they will be there listening to you, but their decision will be made on the day of the election itself. But from the little that I've been gathering, obviously there are some people who are in lead when it comes to the race. For instance, the presiding member for the Ejisu Municipal Assembly, Helena Mensah, because of the knowledge of the grassroots election, she's very popular among the delegates. So she's been able to sway some of the people to her side. Evans Dia, who we understand is from the fold of Dr. John Ampontiokuma because of the influence of Dr. In the constituency. Dr. Dia is also, gaining some momentum. The campaign is gaining some momentum within the area. Kosinyantechi is actively also on the ground. The information we are having is that Mameya gaining some traction from the delegates. So from all indication, it looks like there are some who are already who are already getting some attraction or some attention from these delegates, and the election is hoping to be a very keenly contested election within the Ejisu constituency on Saturday.
But in the previous primaries we've seen on both the NPP and the NDC, we saw some monetary inducement. I mean, the aspirant pushing for this. How is this, actually playing out in the Ejisu constituency, knowing that this is a crucial election, by-election for that constituency?
So far, we haven't picked information of any of the aspirants giving out money to the delegates. This is expected in the election because, in areas like Ejisu constituency in the Ashanti region, the NPP has a hold of some of these areas or these constituencies. So whoever is elected on Saturday by the New Patriotic Party is very likely to win the seat or retain the seat for the New Patriotic Party. Therefore, the person becomes the Member of Parliament for Ejisu constituency.
Right.
And for that matter, it's expected that these aspirants will do all that they would, they will put in their possible best to win the seat. So it's expected that some delegates will be induced with money already from the filing of nomination and the process that had earlier been done. You notice that the delegates are expecting money from some of these aspirants.
Right.
And from the nature of the politics we've seen in the recent years, it's very likely that these aspirants will give the delegates some money to secure their vote.
We'll keep our eyes on that. But Nana Ojima, stay on for us. Let's do a bit more on the NPP primaries by speaking to the party's Director of Elections, Evans Nemako, who joins us on the telephone line now. Mr. Nemako, how is the party preparing for the primaries on Saturday?
Well, thank you very much. I think for the party, we are set to have our constituency annual delegate conference conducted on Saturday. We were done with voting last Saturday, and now we speak today, the National Chairman has convened National Executive Committee meeting, and the Elections Committee chaired by the National Affairs Vice will give a report to that effect. All the candidates that we invited with, the committee indicated to them that they will be recommended to next, so they will be part of the primary. We're looking forward to have a very successful primary conducted. The EC today at IPAC indicated to political parties that it plans to conduct the by-election on 30th April. So the New Patriotic Party is getting ready to go into the elections and find a replacement for Honorable John Kuma.
All right, so we understand the report was to be submitted on the process to select a parliamentary candidate to functional executive committee for the way forward. Where are you with that particular leg of the process?
Yes, so as I mentioned, it's the National Executive Committee. That is what has been convened now by the National Chairman. And so all that needs to be done will be done this afternoon. And we are happy so far with the conduct of the campaign exercise by the prospective candidates. We look forward to having a very successful constituency delegate conference on Saturday.
All right, so finally, before I let you go, how does the party see the 30th April date for the primaries or for the election, the by-election itself?
Well, I mean, that's the date the EC has handed over to us. We're informed this morning at IPAC. And we'll communicate that to the party National Executive Committee. If there are any other issues that the party wants to communicate to the EC, now be done.
All right. Thank you so much, Evans Nemako, for speaking to us here on election brief. But I've also been joined on Zoom by Mustafa Gbande. He is the Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress for this conversation. Thank you so much for having you. How is the NDC preparing towards this by-election in Ejisu?
So thank you very much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Right. So we, as my colleague said, the General Secretary was at the airport meeting today. The Electoral Commission gave the indication that 30th would be their preferred date to organize that by-election. The NDC is now, upon that notice, going to convene a meeting to have deliberation as to the way forward into that particular by-election. For us, the priority is that the death of John Kuma, sends a lot of pain to the NDC and all teeming youths of this country, particularly those who are engaged in politics. And so we are still mourning his loss, particularly that he's a Minister of State and an MP. We are still mourning him. We sympathize with his family and particularly the children he has left. We are quite shocked that the MPP seems to be a bit in a hurry and interested in the position than commiserating the loss of the young, particularly with the surrounding issues, suspected issues about his death and all of that. I've seen the president is unconcerned about it. The vice president is unconcerned about it. The party has been trying to do everything possible to sink every discussion around the death of John Kuma. Surprisingly, even in his 1 week, they were celebrating the 80th birthday of His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, which is quite unconscionable, very unfortunate.
All right.
And for us, we don't think that it's appropriate. So we are still mourning. Leadership will meet, and then we'll take the appropriate step. If we decide to participate in the election, just as I say not, 2 weeks is enough for us to win if we decide to participate in the election.
So at this stage, no decision has been taken yet by the party whether the NDC is actually going to partake in this by-election.
The only decision that is standing now was the instruction by the national chairman for us to mourn our brother. As of now, we haven't taken any decision yet. And so on the basis of what happened in IPAC today, a meeting will be convened to appropriately consult with the structures of the party to ensure that we are all on the same table and take a decision that is best for this country, best for the party, and a decision that best commensurates with the death of our brother, particularly his children and his family.
Okay, so we've seen a lot of, preparation on the side of the NPP. I mean, so far, some persons have picked up nomination forms and all that. Do you have a similar situation in the Ejisu constituency for the NDC, just in case after your meeting it is agreed that you take part in the by-election?
We already have a parliamentary candidate for that constituency. Even if we decide to participate, it will be a very calm election for us to participate, because particularly when people suspect that a young man has been poisoned. We condemn the MPP and the rate at which they are fighting for the position, to the extent that 9 people are fired. I mean, it's unconscionable. And so we will not be engaging in that kind of politicking. They are only dazed by the fact that they have money to share. They've gotten some state money they have to share. And so they are doing that. We will not engage in that kind of activity.
But
and so we are going to
let me come in respectfully. You do know that this is a democratic process, the fact that the seat is vacant, and definitely we need somebody to actually occupy the seat. Don't you see this as just a process, not for the NPP actually, running ahead of itself to get somebody to sit on it?
Particularly a young man who have died very painfully. We would have thought that the NPP would demonstrate some conscience to say, let us be calm, let us not behave as if it is a seat that came naturally. Let us at least show respect to the death, particularly the services of the young man to the administration of His Excellency Akufo-Addo. It is though as if they were waiting for him to die so that they share his property. So they are running after the seat unconscionably, and that is the only thing that we are concerned with. I think that what they are doing is not reflective of our customs, is not reflective of the practices and the mood of political parties towards colleagues who die painfully like this, particularly on the record when it is being alleged on the stations of senior members of the MPP that the deputy minister was poisoned, including himself and the regional chairman of the MPP. I believe that President Akufo-Addo should have demonstrated commitment to, first of all, find out what happened to his deputy minister. I mean, to be, running as if it's an ordinary by-election, for me, is unfortunate.
Okay, but Mustafa Gbande, you do know that there's an arrangement. If an MP dies or something, there's a process, there's a period within which by-elections should be held. I mean, what the MPP...
we know the MPP's practice have been that when you die painfully like this, they make either your family member or they try to find a way of calmly, dealing with the issues there. This one, it is a tea party for all of them. 9 people, very unconscionable, very condemnable. They are not, showing passion. They are not demonstrating any feeling of empathy towards a young man who died. And that is what is surprising. MPP of all parties, they've lost morals. They cannot even be compassionate to demonstrate some level of emotions towards the painful death of a deputy minister who was not sick, no accident. I mean, it's not correct. It's not politically correct.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Mustafa Gbande, for speaking to us here on Election Brief. We're grateful for your time. Now, moving on, with just 8 months until this year's general election, voters in the Ashaiman constituency, the Greater Accra region, remain undecided on whether to participate in the voting process or not. According to the resident, their indecision stems from various factors, including the current economic hardship and the deplorable state of social infrastructure across the constituency.
What's going to inform my vote in 2024? Maybe I might not even vote because the road in Ashama, I don't know whether we are part of Ghana or not, because all the road in Ashama has spoiled. From the 22 enclave to the whole township, no road there. And I heard they did let Accra work again, cleaning and these things. I've not seen even one dustbin. I've been sitting along the road, but people hold dustbins. I've tied all dustbins all over here. I see people passing with dustbins, they don't know where to dump them. And all these things contribute to, look at the gutter here, look at the way it's smelling. If you clean this thing tomorrow, you come and it's full. I don't know what our leaders, our MCE was here when they dug this place. They dug from here to down there because the water was leaking. They destroyed the traffic light cables, or up to date, they've never came to do it. The dust, when you go through the township, the road leading to Level, the dust over there is something that is not even good for human health. But nobody talks about it.
For so many years now, almost 5 years now, this road, they haven't done anything about it. And we are inhaling dust. When cars are passing, we'll be inhaling dust. Even after now, I can't even breathe. My concern is for this vote, this election, we are going to vote, but we are going to look at some things. For Ashama here, if you see our traffic lights, then the street light, we don't have one street light in Ashama, one bulb. We don't have it. From Ashasek up to Underbridge, we don't have one bulb in Ashaman. Our road, Kota Road, they use this in sand to fill it. I didn't see some before. So this thing, if you watch this thing, who am I going to vote for? Right now, which party is on the listen?
I don't want to vote this year because if I vote, I will not get any results. I'm done JHS. I didn't get money to continue. That's why.
But SHS is free. It's supposed to be free.
And by now you buy some things before you go to school. But I don't have that money. I'll sell pure water before I will go. But my mom is not alive.
We had the E-block getting rotten and taking control over by reptiles. Children have to walk long distances for primary education. And the youth in the community don't have jobs.
4 years ago, no, I vote. But this time around, I can't vote again because of I don't see any changes in the system. Our things is too cost. if you go market, if you hold small money, you can buy plenty things. But now, if you go, if you have plenty money, so you can't buy anything.
Up to now, Ashama, we are not seeing any development for Ashama. As you can see our market here. We are sitting, we are sleeping. The market is not going. The system is hard for we. We butchers, we are dealing for safer. Always safer is going high.
So you are going to look at the exchange rates to vote?
Yes, of course. Because we are not seeing anything. Like we see something changes. Or like we are not changing our mind.
Assembly is not helping us at all. They were not helping us. So we are suffering in the market. True, we are suffering. The DC and the MP, I don't know how to talk to them again.
Meanwhile, the two leading aspirants on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, and the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, Ernest Nogbe and Justice King Esso, respectively, are engaged in a battle over who has the best capabilities to lead the constituency.
I intend to actually bring a lot of changes so far as youth development is concerned. Work on issues of environment, sanitation issue, very important. Look at issues of health. Education is key, trade and business is another key area that we want to actually work on. These are but some of the key things that I think that we should be looking at. We work actually also on infrastructure because we need that to open up the space for many more good things to happen. And we wish to see us work collaboratively with the media to do more advocacy work and begin to reframe issues in Ashama and give Ashama a better image. I'm from the place. I was born and bred in the place. I live with you, so I'm one of your own. That is the first thing. Two, I've demonstrated that even within that difficult ground, at the age of 23, I started educating children. And I started that even before the school, St. Anne's, became King's Court. I started an evening school. Even around the age of 18, I already had an evening school in the New Quarters. So that is true. I can do that. I have actually schooled myself a bit to understand issues. So education-wise, I understand what it means. Because I come from the place, I can relate with the local people. Speak with them, understand the language that they speak, the language of the place, I understand what it is like. I'm a humble person. And so anybody could approach me on whatever issue it is like, very hardworking as well. Finally, I think that from what I have done, even though I'm not the representative of the people, that's a good sign to show that look, given the opportunity, we can be able to give Ashama a better image.
One reason why the people of Ashama should believe in me is, one, I have not met my government in power for them to know what I'm worth of. Even though what I have done so far in opposition should tell them that if I've been given the opportunity in the future and that my president comes to power, we will do more. Because John Dramani Mahama has promised the people of Ashama that he was going to construct our roads and asphalt our 166 kilometers of road. He was going to provide an flyover linking Ashama to Lashibi for us.
In your election brief from election headquarters here in Accra. We have a lot more election-related stories on our website at myjoyonline.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good afternoon.